It's officially episode 6 of Conquering All Maps in Ark. Except, I'm going to change the title of this series because I realized what I'm actually doing is completing Ark Survival Evolved. I'm completing the game in its entirety. After this map, we are going to be transported to Scorched Earth, and then, like 2 others. And then I'm doing the Genesis extensions, and I'm completing all of the Steam achievements along the way. I'm literally just completing the game. But we are also conquering every map. Like, I have to, have a good base and actually be king of the island or king of the Ark that I'm currently in. Queen, I guess. Oh my goodness. Queen of the Ark that I'm currently in before I can move on. So yeah, title change. Completing Ark in its entirety. That's the series. New name. Yay. Real quick before we start, just wanted to give you a tour of my base since I haven't yet. I technically built all of this and didn't really record any of it because, again, I was tired of trying to make that interesting. So here I have 2 tables, each with a mortar and pestle. Table 1 is for gunpowder and spark powder. Table 2 is for narcotics and cementing paste. After that, I have this desk to craft various light fixtures. This is all cosmetic, by the way, but it's my lighting mod that I have, so I can, build pretty lights and stuff. And basically, a lot of the items here are just to visually show me what I'm storing and where. It is the visual storage mod. It's really nice, and I enjoy it for organization. I'm sure by the end of this playthrough, I'm just going to be throwing everything in a box and calling it good. But for now, it's very nice. Moving on, here's my garden full of literally every vegetable, I'm pretty sure, anyway. And I have 2 narcotics and 2 stem berries and a pallet to store fertilizer. And then down here, we have the water system, where it all goes. Those pipes would not listen to me for the longest time. This took way too long. And over here is Fat Gus, working hard at giving me fertilizer. And lastly, I figured out a solution to the gaps above my gateways. So that made me happy. It's not perfect, but it's better than leaving the gaps there. Okay, so I wanted to focus on the Steam achievements, one of which is taming every tameable creature on the Ark. So what I did is craft a ton of bedtime stories, grabbed a couple veggies, hopped on Saitama. We headed straight to the Redwoods where I was planning on taming pretty much everything in sight. I had printed out a list of every tameable creature on the island, on paper, by the way. I was crossing out each animal's name as I tamed them, and decided that I was going to start at the top of the list and go down. And it just happens to be in alphabetical order, which is kind of interesting. First on there is one of those snails. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. And after being dismounted by this imbecile, I found one. And I proceeded to force the poor man to go to sleep. But this thing would not take my carrots or the meat I had so graciously provided. So I had to do a quick Google search and found out that it only eats sweet vegetable cakes. Or at least that's its preferred food. So I guess I can't tame one right now, since I have been unable to locate a beehive. So I kind of gave up on the whole idea of taming them in order and just went for everything in sight. First target was this guy. I don't know what these are called. It's the 8-man guy. But then all of a sudden this happened. Like, why, bro? I guess this is why I'm supposed to leave him on passive or something. So my next target became this long-necked penguin, but for some reason I couldn't shoot him. I just kept missing. Not wanting to waste my arrows, I changed targets to this Carnotaurus, but continued to miss him as well. But this time I hopped on Saitama to get closer, but I continued to miss. So I changed my target once again to this sloth man over here. Okay, so my crossbow broke, so I had to give up on this sloth and tame the Diploplicathlaba thing that I had knocked out while waiting on the sloth to come into view. However, we got ambushed by a Carno, and it died. Man, I just want to tame something today. So I went back to my redwood base, fixed my crossbow, crafted a couple more trank arrows, and set out once again to try and find something to tame. Yeah, I didn't think that'd work, but I wanted to try anyway. So, turns out I have an Ankylo on this mountain that I didn't know about. Cool. I just left him there for now. But eventually I did find my next victim. So I flew up to a safe location where I could inject him with sleeping pills. I killed the nearby saber-tooth before knocking him out to ensure he would be safe when he fell asleep, and proceeded to get myself my first arachnid. And just like that, I was one tame closer to completing the Steam achievement. Yay! Now I have to find another victim. And thankfully, there was one pretty much right outside my door. And just like that, I had him down. So, I left him there to tame and went to find a new dino. I found this giant sloth guy. So I got him knocked out, started the taming process, went to check on my other dino. He was done. So I took him home, where it was safe, and gave him a name. So I went to check on my sloth, he was still asleep, and then headed out to find some more things to tame. I did manage to get a terror bird and a pygomastix, along with this nice pen to tame a Troodon in someday. I did spend a lot of time taming these deer and having them give me babies to try and tame the Troodon with, but it was taking way too long. So I just have to come back when I have some Rex babies or something. Also, side note, my young Kylo died at some point while I was doing all of this. Anyway, I eventually made it home with all of my new dinos. Then I headed out to look for a Spinosaurus pair, so that way I could use their babies to tame a Troodon, and I did want to use Spinos for the boss fights, if that's possible. I really should be doing some more research on the boss fights, and maybe getting some artifacts. But right now I really just wanted to focus on the Steam achievements. Eventually I found a level 20 Spino, but after flying this entire river to its end, and this being the first Spinosaurus I found, I decided to just tame her. I didn't want to look for a higher level at this point. So I placed the trap and started the typical process of taming a dinosaur. However, this Spino was special. She was stupid. No, like actually, she just kept attacking this gateway. Completely free to move around, by the way, the entire time I was knocking her out. Or at least until she realized she was getting sleepy and decided to run. And just like that, I had brainwashed her into being my friend. So I took her back to the Redwood base and headed down a different river in hopes of finding a male. There was this level 12, but I need a higher level than that. Eventually, I found 3 Spinos in one area in the river, but they were all female. However, one of them was level 96, so I decided to tame her because that's a whole lot higher than my other one. So, I once again got a trap placed and started the process of taming the Spino. Bro, stop getting distracted. But just like the last Spino, this one's kinda stupid. She literally refused to get into the trap. So when the Spino was literally about to die, I suddenly realized that I was using regular arrows this whole time. But thankfully, right when I realized that, she ran into the trap, and I was able to block her exit. So I just left her there in the hopes that she would heal up, and then I could knock her out properly. While I was wandering around aimlessly, I found this! A beehive. Oh my goodness, I've been looking for one of these for the past 3 episodes. I'm so happy right now. I will most definitely be marking that on my map and coming back to tame the queen bee. Anyway, eventually she looked healed up enough, so I started knocking her out. This time, I had the right arrows. I named her Redata, which I think means raid in Spanish. And just like that, I had a level 143 Spinosaurus. Alrighty, and I guess we're done with this episode, so thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe and comment and all that fun stuff that I'm supposed to say at the end of every video. And hopefully in the next episode, I will be taming a queen bee. Bye-bye!